All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. If you are coming on, please, I need you to do me a favor very quickly. I need you to hit the like button. I need you to hit the share button. And I need you to tag Lolly Dolly everybody and let them know your boy, Ramonepreston, the squad. We are live right here on this beautiful Tuesday here in the Buckhead community of Atlanta. So please, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the share button, and tag somebody and let them know that the Ramonepreston Show is live. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your likes, for your shares, and please be sure to put in the comments what city you are watching us from today. If you would be so kind, put in the comments what city you're watching us from today. I love for all of our viewers to get an opportunity to know where other viewers are watching from. So if you would be so kind, hit the like button, hit the share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody, and put in the comments what city you're watching your boy from. So welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. If you don't know, now you know. I'm Ramonepreston, and every Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon, right here on the Ramonepreston Show, we provide information to you and for you, information that can help you properly start, properly structure, so that at some point you can properly scale your businesses, ministries, if you have ministries, your income streams, and your wealth building dreams. Now, you may ask, well, what qualifies you to provide information to help us properly start and structure our businesses? Well, as a business and financial consultant, as a coach, and as a trainer and educator, that's what we specialize in here at Ramonepreston Enterprises. We help our clients and even our students who are in our training and educational programs. We help you and them properly start your businesses. So whether you are starting a LLC, whether you are starting a nonprofit, or perhaps you want to just get into some type of operational business, we show you how to properly start those entities, preferably with a holding company, and secondly with operating companies or entities that would be owned by your holding company. So we really put a lot of emphasis on teaching those concepts to show you how to do it the proper way, so that you can have the right protection, so that you can build a sustainable brand and business, and so that you can preserve your legacy and all the assets that your holding company or your parent organization actually owns. We also take a lot of time to work with our clients and students as well when we educate and train them on how to integrate the right systems and processes in your business. Listen, if you're going to start a business and you're going to run a business, there are just certain systems and processes you got to have. You just cannot build and grow a successful business without having the proper infrastructure and the proper systems and processes. So with that being said, thank you for joining the show today. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those questions in the comments, and give me some feedback on what your big takeaways are throughout the show. And today, I really want to take some time to talk to you about how do you build your business foundation and framework. How do you build your business foundation and your business framework? Because I look at building a business like you would a house. I really do. And if you think about how you build a house, wow, there has to be a foundation, and then there has to be a framework. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they do it backwards if they don't do it at all. You know, some entrepreneurs, they're not even building a foundation or framework. Some entrepreneurs are just pitching tents and just hoping at some point, you know, if a storm comes, that the tent is going to withstand the storm. And what happens is, when we run into times like we're in now with recessions and economic collapses and contractions and inflation and setback and chaos and all these things that become volatile in the marketplace, what happens to most entrepreneurs and businesses is they collapse, they break down, they get blown away, and they lose everything that they tried to build. And the truth is this, it's very difficult to grow a business that was not properly built. I think we can all agree on that. I mean, how you gonna grow a business or grow anything that wasn't properly built? And so that's why I put so much emphasis as a business consultant and a coach and educator on the infrastructure, the foundation, the basis of your business. Because if you can get the infrastructure of your business correct, if you can build a solid foundation for your business, it's going to be easier to build a framework, and it's going to be easier to bring all the appliances and the equipment and the things that you want in the house of this business so that you can enjoy it and move forward, grow, and succeed. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you are a W-2 employee or anything in between, and you're looking to really start and structure a business the right way, and you want to build it so that at some point you can grow it or scale it, this is what I'm talking about today: how to build a foundation and a framework for your business. So let's talk about the foundation part of your business. I'm going to always recommend and prefer that your first business be a holding company. Some people disagree. Hey, to each his own. That's why I can have my own opinions. But I'm going to prefer that your first business is a holding company. Now, if you do not have a holding company, but you already have a LLC in operation, it's not that you can't just start a holding company and just transfer the ownership of your current LLC to your holding company. You can actually do that. I have resources and information and services that we have in-house that can help you make that happen. But nevertheless, when you think about the foundation of your business, I want you to think about just like what happens with a house, okay? You find the plot of land that you want to build a house on. You decide that you want to be a business owner, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to take a shot at it. But when you do that, a lot of times what entrepreneurs mess up at is they just think about what they want to sell, what they want to provide to the marketplace, when what you're doing at that level is really operational. So when you say you got a product you want to sell in the market, when you say you got a service that you want to provide to the market, well, if you build a business around that, like categorically, that's an operating business because you're operating in the marketplace, you're selling a product and a service, okay? But very rarely does an entrepreneur look at the foundation and say, wait a minute, even before I get my operating business situated, what if I had a parent company? What if I had a holding company? What if I had some type of entity that I build a foundation for, and then I'm able to use that as my asset manager? Because that's what holding companies do. It's so much in that. I'm not going to have time to talk about all the advantages of having a holding company, but let's just say that if you have a product or service that you're selling or you want to sell, well, I would prefer that you start your holding company, okay? And I'm always going to talk about this. Like if you watch some of the 1,800 plus videos I got on my YouTube channel, even in my training programs and my services, I'm always showing clients that this is like one of the best ways you can build an infrastructure and you can put yourself in a position to really have a successful, wealthy business. Like all these major corporations and these big entities that exist around the world, almost all of them are set up and structured as holding companies. And many of them got big before they became holding companies, but once they became but once they got big, they went to, you know, companies and consulting firms, and they reorganized and restructured their organizations. One of the most recent ones was Google and YouTube. Y'all might remember just a few years ago, Google and YouTube, they came under the parent company Alphabet. So they started a new company called Alphabet as a holding company, and they put Google and YouTube under that holding company. And this is the same concept I'm talking about. It's just that you're not Google or YouTube, and you don't have to wait until you become a Google and YouTube, because maybe you might never become a Google and YouTube just with your operating entity. Maybe you need to have that concept of Alphabet, Google, and YouTube today, so that as you build your operating company or companies, you have a foundation and a better framework to build from. So if you understand what I'm saying, hopefully I'm not cramming too much information down your throat, but this is like the first step to building your business foundation and framework. Building your business foundation is making sure that you structure your organization. You build the infrastructure of your organization using the holding company concept. So that means you're going to put your holding company at the top. This is going to be your holding company, correct? This is holding company right here. And then whatever the products and services, I'll just put P&S, whatever the products and services are that you plan on selling and providing in the marketplace, you let that holding company entity own that business that houses your products and houses your services. So that would be the first step or the first phase of what you're building in your organization. And again, I could go through so many different reasons why you want to use this concept, the concept of a holding company. Let's just think about some of the few, just in case some of you are not familiar with this concept. Let's talk about some of the few reasons why you would have your holding company set up. So if your holding company is going to be your parent organization, if you're going to use your holding company as the foundation of your organization, what are some of the reasons why you're going to use a holding company in the first place? Well, you're going to have protection, because now whatever the products and services are that your operating company is providing in the marketplace, if anything ever happens, if you're ever sued, or if there's any litigation or anything that comes against you, well, you have protection now, because your holding company is separate from your operating company. And this is how a lot of major companies operate. I was talking about this in my Millionaire Mastermind this past Saturday, and I was telling them about how when you go to establishments like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, and you walk into these establishments, restaurants and stores, and you see the name of the company everywhere. It's on logos, it's on like paraphernalia, it's on cookies, it's on bags. The logo and the trademark is on cups and so forth and so on. You're not really thinking that there may be 20 different companies represented in that one store with the same similar name. Like, for example, if you have a holding company, but you have certain products and services that you sell, well, you want to protect certain assets that represent your company. So let's say if your products and services have a proprietary process, there's something that you do that's proprietary, meaning that it's unique to you. Well, you don't want your operating company that's out there grinding and banging out to own that process. Now your holding company can own that process. That could be like intellectual property. This is critical, especially for small business owners, because if you're just out here scrapping, trying to get a business off the ground, and you just bundle everything together because you like, you know what, I ain't really big enough to do this. Well, the truth is, you're not too small to do it. You should be doing this because you should actually begin your business with the end in mind. See, I'm that type of entrepreneur. I want to know everything I need to know now, even before I get to where I'm going, so that when I start the process of getting there, I'm encouraged, I'm excited because I know where I'm going and I can have a better idea on what I need to do along the way. So with this setup, you got your protection, you got your preservation. What are you preserving? Well, I'm preserving my IP, I'm preserving my copyrights, I'm preserving anything that has value that I don't want to be exposed through the operation of different businesses. So this business that sells products and services, it can be using a logo that it doesn't own. Your holding company can own it. It could be using intellectual property of processes that it doesn't own. It could be using papers and having training that the curriculum is owned by your holding company, because now you're building assets. You're creating value in your organization, and you're not limiting yourself to the operation of this business. I'm telling y'all, the moment you start understanding these concepts and implementing them in your business, the moment a light is going, it's going to flip, and that switch is going to be like, uh-oh, wait a minute, I'm doing this wrong. I need to get this right. Because a lot of you right now, if you got a business and you operate in your business, you out there selling products and services, you probably got everything in this one business. And you haven't separated your assets. You don't even know what assets you have. So your copyrights, your trademarks, your intellectual property, all these things could actually bring value. You may have certain recipes or processes, things that really have value. You might have equipment that doesn't need to be owned by the business that's actually using it. But if your holding company owns all these things, your holding company can license it, your holding company can lease it, and now your holding company is protected, but it's also protecting the things that make your organization what it is. And this is a part of the foundation. So if I had to give you like a short list of what do you need to do first, the first thing you would need to do is start a holding company. And again, if you already have an operating company, it would be an easy transition for you to take your operating company and transfer the ownership of that operating company to your holding company. But your holding company is going to be first. Now, here's the next part of building this foundation with your holding company. You want to make sure that you establish your holding company with the legacy in mind. So your holding company should be your legacy company. It should be your legacy entity. It should be the entity that represents something more than just the thing you sell, the product or service that you provide. So I know those of you that are watching me on certain platforms, you can't see my logo and my name, but my name is Ramonepreston. My legal name is Ramonepreston. My holding company, my parent company is named Ramonepreston Enterprises. Now, why did I name my company after me? Well, because I am the brand ambassador, and I wanted to build a brand that is consistent with what I'm doing, and it represents my legacy. So it simplifies everything else that I'm doing, because now when I think about building my holding company, I want to think about my business structure. Okay, I want it to be a holding company. I want it to be a LLC. I'm thinking about my brand identity. My brand identity is RP, Ramonepreston. So now I need to think about the brand ambassador. Who is going to be the brand ambassador? So if it's a couple, maybe it's an abbreviation of both of your names and it's an enterprise. Or maybe it's your middle name or your mom's name or your father's last name and it's an enterprise. But you want to make sure whatever the name is that you name your parent company, it can be something that can be used as a brand identity. And you can become the brand ambassador behind it, so it makes it easier for you to have longevity. Because when you start naming your business all these different names based on something you're doing this time of your life, but then 8 years from now you want to change it, all of a sudden you're conflicted. You don't know if you should change the name, start all over. And it's not that you can't change the name and start all over, but who want to keep going through all this stuff every 2-3 years when you come up with a new idea? So you have to create a name that can be consistent over long periods of time so that you can become a brand. So when you think of names like Johnson & Johnson, okay, Johnson & Johnson is the name of people, right? But it's a holding company. When you think of J.C. Penney, when you think of Merrill Lynch, when you think of Bank of America, when you think of Wells Fargo, when you think of all of these major names, Keller Williams, a lot of these names are people. And these people built businesses around their names and continued to grow those businesses until those names of those businesses became brands. And so now when we think about Johnson & Johnson, we automatically know it's a business. We automatically know it's a brand. It's a household name. Campbell's Soup, that's a household name. It's a business. It's a brand. It's a family. It's a legacy. That's what you want to do with your holding company, with your first company. And here's what's really interesting about having a foundation like this. You can use your holding company to run some of your top level services through. So your top level services can be educational services, because whenever you're in an industry and you are selling products and services in that industry, you're automatically, like by default, some type of educator. Because if I reached out to you and you have a certain product that you sell or a certain service that you provide, if I reached out to you and asked you questions about your product or asked you questions about your services or asked you questions about that industry, what you gonna do? I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do. You're gonna give me all this information because you know stuff about that industry that I don't know. So whether you sell apparel, whether you do digital marketing, whether you own a roller skating rink, whether you are a real estate investor, whether you are an NFT expert, whether you invest in Bitcoin, whether you are a construction worker, a landscaper, whether you detail cars, whether you do hair, if I asked you any question about the line of work that you're in through your business, you probably have information for days to give me. But you just have not built an educational institution around that information. You haven't done that. You may have not built some type of consulting or even coaching around that information and experience that you have. But if you separate your holding company from your operating entity, you can start doing that. And I keep like preaching this heavily because we're in a time right now that things are contracting. And when things contract, people start contracting. And when people start contracting, people start losing. And when people start losing, guess what happens? Winners start winning. And those who got their stuff together and who know what they want to do with their business and with their future and with success, they start leaning in and they start taking advantage of the opportunities of that time. And that's what you need to do. So if you do not have the navigation, if you don't have the GPS, if you don't know exactly what steps you need to take, I'm telling you, this is why you need to really connect yourself to coaches and consultants and get into communities where people are teaching these principles and concepts. You got to do it. And I'm going to tell you, I just had this conversation with somebody a little bit earlier on the phone. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. Okay? I'm going to say it again. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. So you can just keep hearing people like me talk about all this stuff and preach about this stuff and rinse and repeat over and over again on lives and on social media and on reels and stories and shorts. And you can just keep listening to it and learning and familiarizing yourself with it and nodding your head like, yeah, I know what you're talking about and I feel you, dog, and I get you, bruh. You can keep doing that. But what you're not understanding is the longer you wait, the worse it gets. Because the less you do something, the less you want to do it. And then you wake up one day and you're like, man, I ain't doing nothing with no business. Man, I'm sick of this. I'm tired of trying and not getting nowhere. Then you become a complainer because you never pulled the trigger. You never put yourself in a position. So the first step to building your business foundation is making sure you have the right entity. And I'm not just talking about LLC, S Corp, C Corp. I'm talking about having a holding company and using that concept to, number one, separate your operating business or businesses from your parent business, your parent organization. That's what you want to do. And using the parent organization, the parent company, as an asset holder, an asset protector, an asset manager. And so now you start looking at your operating business. You look at the products and the services that you know you want to sell and provide, and you figure out, how can I take this business and how can I break it up into pieces so that I can have education that I can provide for this business. I can provide coaching and consulting to people who want to get in this business or who need assistance in this industry and in this business. And all of a sudden, you start creating more inventory. You start creating more assets. You start increasing the value of your business. And most likely, you end up making more sales in your operating business. I always use this as an example. If you met Joe the plumber, and Joe the plumber told you that he, or Jan the plumber, provides plumbing services, and something was wrong with your toilet, and you knew Joe the plumber could do the plumbing, that would be one perspective you would have of Joe. But if you met Joe and Joe did not introduce himself or present himself as Joe the plumber, but let's say Joe introduced himself and presented himself as Joe the plumbing expert. He teaches people plumbing. He has educational classes on plumbing. He can consult other plumbers. He can consult clients about plumbing, on what services they need and what pipes they need to use. All of a sudden, you meet Joe the plumber, and you meet another Joe who is Joe the expert in the world of plumbing. Most likely, you may call Joe the expert when you have a plumbing problem. Am I right? Am I right about it? Am I right about it? Tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right. Put it in the comments and let me know. No, bro, you right. Are you gonna call the guy who's just trying to push his plumbing business, or are you gonna call the guy who is an expert in the field of plumbing, who knows way more than just how to fix a toilet? You may call the plumbing expert because the plumbing expert may give you information. And it's not that Joe the plumber don't know it. It's not that Joe the plumber don't understand it. It's just that Joe the plumber did not properly position himself in the market as such, which means he's not getting the response in the market like Joe the expert is going to get. And this is why a lot of entrepreneurs are improperly positioned in the marketplace. And when you're improperly positioned in the marketplace, you ain't making no money. Ain't nobody doing no business with you, because you probably have so much competition that's saturating the market with the very thing you're doing. Ain't nobody paying attention to you. And we need to change that. We need to change that narrative. We need to change that dynamic. And the way you change that narrative and that dynamic is by, ladies and gentlemen, the way you change it is by starting and structuring your first entity as a holding company, building a brand around that holding company or using it as a brand, and really just using the holding company as a brand to position yourself as an expert in the marketplace, so that even though you may have products that you sell, even though you may have services that you provide, it makes it easier for people to reach you and to recognize you and to trust who you are because of how you're positioned up here. So when you start going out into the market and trying to get attention, you're getting attention on a higher level than just down here as another guy or gal who provides products and services. And I would do this with any industry. Like literally, if I just had a business that sold apparel, if all I did was sold apparel right now, because of what I know when it comes to these concepts, if all I did was sold apparel, I would literally become the apparel expert. I wouldn't just be the t-shirt guy or the hoodie guy or the hat guy or the tumbler guy. I would become like the guru of accessories. I would become like the go-to person of how to actually build these types of businesses and how to outsource and how to connect with vendors and how to ship and handle logistics and all the ins and outs of these things. I would be educating people on how to do it. I would be showing people how to actually do those types of businesses. And if you look at the internet and if you just watch a lot of the people who are booming on social media, a lot of them are actually doing what I'm saying do. They may be doing it in a different way. There may be some differences and some nuances, but fundamentally speaking, a lot of them are actually doing that. And that's what you got to do if you're going to get any type of like consistent and sustainable attention. So that's the foundation. The foundation is your holding company being established, you separating your holding company, even if it's not in another legal entity, you still want to separate your holding company from your operating entities so that you can start separating the assets. So that now the things that have value, like your intellectual property, your trademarks, your copyrights, whatever the proprietary things that you do as the expert in your space, you want to separate that because you're going to be using those things in your holding company as inventory. Does that make sense? You're going to be using those things as inventory, meaning that if I'm good at doing something and I have a business that I do it in, I want to separate my IP from that so I can start taking my IP and creating curriculum behind it. So I can start elevating my game and doing more than just the thing I do in my operating business. Now, if what I'm saying to you is kind of confusing, all it takes is for you to just give yourself some time to learn these concepts and principles, to educate yourself, and to start implementing them incrementally in your business until you find your rhythm. But everybody that I personally work with as a coach and a consultant with these concepts, who take them, who learn them, and who implement them, they're all seeing more. They're seeing more activity in their business. They're seeing more revenue in their business. You know why? Because it automatically expands your inventory. It automatically expands your inventory because now you're not just providing a product and a service that you're selling. Now you're actually providing top level expert services based on the products and services that you sell. So that's how you start expanding your business and expanding your place or your position in the marketplace. So that's the foundation. You got to build that foundation. Once that foundation is built, okay, let's say you have your holding company. Okay, let's just write that down. Let's say you have your holding company, right? You got your holding company. You are using your holding company to separate from your operating company. You are starting to stack and layer your assets, like your intellectual property, your copyrights, things that you can start using to create top level services here on the holding company level, even though here you're going to have certain products and services that you sell and that you provide, but you're going to start separating them from other services like teaching and training and education and maybe consulting other people who are in your space who don't know some of the things that you know, or people that want to get in the business, or even clients who are here that you're providing more of an expert touch to. That's powerful, because there are a lot of people who do things in business, but they ain't making people feel like they're experts on a higher level. They're just making people feel like they're good at what they do. And that's good, but it's only going to take you so far when we're in the types of markets that we're in today. When the economy is the way it is and people start contracting and holding back and falling off, you got to lean in and you got to be able to pivot in a way that you start getting different attention. Okay, that's how you're going to do it. And so once you have this foundation laid, now one of the next things that you have to start working on in your business, which is really, if I reverse this and say you've got the foundation laid, okay, foundation. That would be the foundation, and your foundation is your holding company, right? We're just going to reverse it just for the purpose of this visual. Holding company, and let's just say operating company. So once you got your foundation laid, now you have your legal entities filed and formed. You have your operating agreements. You're legit. You have everything structured correctly. Now you want to build the framework. Now we got to get a framework built. This is the framework. And your framework really needs these 4 main pillars. Your framework needs these 4 main pillars. These 4 pillars that make up your business framework are really systems that need processes, okay? So you're going to need a sales system. That's going to be a pillar. That's a framework. You need marketing. You need financial. And you need operation. Those are like the 4 pillars that make up your business framework. And these are really systems and processes, if that makes sense to you. This is how you build a framework, because again, how are you going to grow a business that's not properly built? Like, I'm in Buckhead, Atlanta, right? And even when I travel to different major cities, but like here, but definitely in major cities when I travel, there are a lot of high rises. So they build in high rises all the time. Well, once they get the foundation embedded in the ground, what determines how high they go up with their framework, it has a lot to do with how deep they went with their foundation and how strong it is. So the foundation of a 1-story ranch is different than the foundation of a 10-story high-rise. The foundation of a 10-story building is different than the foundation of a 60-story skyscraper. So how high do you want to go in your business? How successful do you want to be? How great do you want to become? Whatever that is, it will depend on a foundation. This is the main infrastructure, and then it's going to depend on framework. This is framework right here. This is framework. These are the pillars. You have to have a legitimate, strong sales system. So there's a certain system you need. There are certain platforms you need to have to house that information. That's based on the system. There's a certain process you need to have. You need this for your marketing as well. Otherwise, when you are going on social media, when you're talking about your business, when you're telling people about your products and services, then what? What is the call to action? How are you going to get people to respond? How are you gathering data and information, contact information and personal information to communicate with people? This has a lot to do with your sales and your marketing systems and processes. You need the same thing for your financials. And the reason why I like to put a lot of emphasis on the financials is because most business owners even when they have their sales and their marketing in place, most business owners don't have their financial pillar set in the foundation of their business. So they end up with a lot of tax problems. They don't know how to manage their income and expenses. They don't know how to properly financially forecast. There are just a lot of principles and concepts centered around taxes and finances that they don't understand, because they might have had those two pillars in the framework, but they didn't have this one. And then you also need an operational. See, I've had to learn all this because I got to a point to where I wanted to build a successful business and I wanted to grow it. And what I realized was, in order for me to build a successful business and grow it, and not just live in this delusional world thinking that, oh, at some point I'm gonna go viral and I'm gonna just have 1 million people buy this $100 product, and I'm just gonna sell like 300,000 books. Once I got out of La La Land and I went back to the business table and came back to like reality and realized, oh, okay, if I'm gonna grow a successful business and be a millionaire, a multimillionaire, a billionaire, if I'm gonna do these things, I've gotta build the right business. So I need the foundation, and then I need the framework, and that's when I realized I definitely have to have these systems and processes in place, because I want to make sales, I want to market myself, I want to track and manage my finances so I can keep multiplying them, and I have to have some type of operation to track my activities, to monitor everything, to gauge where I'm at, what I'm doing. And in order for me to do that, guess what? I've got to do the work. So if you've watched today's show, and if there's something that you've learned and there's some value that has come from what you've learned, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to put in the comments what your biggest takeaway is. What is your biggest takeaway? Let me know what your biggest takeaway is from today's show. We talked about how to build your business foundation and framework, and I just showed you literally how to do it with your foundation, holding company, operating company, maybe some divisions, with your framework through sales, marketing, financial, and operations. Just put in the comments, let me know what your biggest takeaway is from today's show. And if for some reason there are some areas that we talked about today that you need help in, okay, there's some areas that you need some support in, because trust me, if you don't take it from me, at some point you're gonna realize he was right. I cannot grow a successful business if I haven't built a solid business. I gotta build the solid business first in order to grow it. So again, it's just like a house, all right? As I said earlier, if you go to Haverty's and you buy a whole lot of furniture, and then you go to Home Depot and you order all the nice appliances, but the house ain't built yet. So although you got the furniture, you got the pictures, you got everything, you ain't got nowhere to put it. And if it's just the foundation that's laid, when you go to the house and it's just a foundation, it ain't no framework. So you really don't have a framework. You don't really know, like, where do I put the couch? I don't even have a room carved out yet. Where will the kitchen be? You need a framework first, and your business needs the same. And so if you are serious about not just building a successful business, but growing a successful business, you're gonna have to do at some point what I had to do, okay? You're gonna have to just come back to the drawing board, and you're gonna have to accept that maybe, just maybe, the reason why I'm not making money in my business, maybe, just maybe, the reason why I'm not seeing any type of progress in my business is because my infrastructure is broken, or maybe it's never been built. And so if you just go back to the drawing board, or when you go back to the drawing board, this is what you're going to do. You're going to establish a foundation for your business first. Preferably, you're going to start the holding company. You're going to separate your holding company from your operating companies, if for nothing else, for the purpose of asset protection and for asset separation, so that you can learn to separate all your assets and let your holding company own and control and manage those assets, like your trademark, your IP, your intellectual property, your curriculum. And then you're going to start creating services and products with those assets, like educational services, coaching or consulting services, even while you're still doing what your operating business does. You're still selling products, you're still providing services, but you're creating new products and services with those assets. Once you do that, the next thing you're going to have to start doing is building a framework. Again, your framework is going to be based on at least these 4 pillars. You need a sales system in place. You need a sales process. You need a marketing system, a marketing process. Your sales and marketing is what's going to get you attention, what's going to get you talking to people, communicating and conversing with people. It's going to give you an opportunity to get contacts, make exchanges, and really do business. Once you start making these exchanges and getting this activity through your sales and marketing, you need a financial system. You need some form of financial management, so that you can track income and expenses. You can work on minimizing your taxes. You can create strategies on how to reallocate certain pre-tax revenue you got coming in. You can start forecasting financially into the future. And when you do that, it's going to make it easier for you to hire people, to outsource certain things, to start taking free cash flow and building your business and growing your business. And you're going to need an operational system, because you want to start tracking your day-to-day activities, start doing research and development, figuring out what works and what doesn't work. This is what you need. Trust me on this. If I did not have this in my business, I would not be around here on social media telling everybody how I went from hood figure to 7 figures. It wouldn't happen. There's just no way. And that's why I tell all of my students and clients, you will never, other than maybe some act of God or some lottery or some just big windfall, outside of those crazy, unusual things, it's very difficult to ever become a millionaire or to even get to $1 million through a business if you don't do this. And so if any of those areas you know you need help in, if any of those areas resonate with you, I want you to reach out to me. We have several programs that we can give you access to help you. So I have an online training program. It's called the Millionaire Blueprint. It's literally my personal playbook. It's a millionaire blueprint. And in this online program, we provide training videos. We provide documents and forms. We provide tutorial walkthrough videos to show you how to start and structure holding companies. We show you how to run the day-to-day activities and operations of your holding company. We have courses in that blueprint for financial literacy, for creative tax strategies. We show you how to take whatever it is that you're doing currently, whether it's your W-2 job, a 1099, or a business, and really maximize it to squeeze as much free cash flow as you can out of it. We have courses on there for sales, for marketing, for business operations, for financials. We teach these principles and concepts. We have real estate investing courses in this program, courses on goal setting, scheduling. We give you access to our replays from our workshops and masterminds. We even have in this Millionaire Blueprint a business coaching self-assessment. So I literally give you access to my self-assessment workbook that I use for my coaching and consulting clients, and I give you walkthrough videos to show you how to go through a self-assessment as an entrepreneur, so that you can identify with your goals, set the right targets, your business structure. I show you how to take your ideas, convert them into products. We walk through certain steps of how to price your products, how to package them, how to find the perfect client profile. Like, this is a lot of top level stuff. When I say I'm a business and financial consultant, I'm not just on social media capping. I work with a lot of clients, and my wife and I have been doing this for a very long time, and we have people that pay us tens of thousands of dollars to provide these services for them. And so this is an online program that we have available. We also have a one-year business coaching program. So if you feel like you want access to the training, but you also need a one-on-one session, you need to be a part of our weekly coaching calls, you may want to be a part of our quarterly workshops, so you can come and sit with me for four to 5 hours and do deep dives into these main systems. We have a one-year business coaching program. We call it our Millionaire Mentorship program. And I'm literally coaching people to become millionaires. So if you want any access to that information, because you know you need it, you know you're glitching, you've hit a roadblock and you need to get unstuck and move forward because you're committed to your success, you're committed to your business, all you need to do is text the word millionaire. That's all you need to do. Text the word millionaire right here. Those of you that are on IG, just text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. Text the word millionaire. Text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. Again, text millionaire to 404-478-7213. Now you might be asking, okay, what's going to happen? Well, you text the word millionaire to that number, and we're going to reach back out to you today. Like, literally, once this show ends, we're about to end, and we're going to just help identify with what you're dealing with, where you are with your business, what you're looking at doing, and we will direct you to what program we have that best fits the criteria. We'll share with you all the benefits of that program, and once we decide that it's something that you know you need because you want to be successful, guess what? We will onboard you today and get you started. If it's our online program, we normally onboard our students within maybe 10 minutes after getting everything processed, so we can do it quickly. If it's our coaching program, we onboard you to the training because our coaching program includes the training, but we schedule your initial, because we provide, at least now we have that in our offer, we provide an initial one-on-one coaching session. And so we take some time to sit with you one-on-one, whether it's in person or Zoom, and really help you flesh out a game plan, especially for the year that we're going to be working with you. So it's a powerful program and it's very beneficial. I'm looking at IG. Thank you all on IG that came to join us today. I see Crystal, one of your takeaways, she says her takeaway was learn to market myself better and make the proper separations. That's a good takeaway. Someone else had a takeaway. I realized my foundation was weak. I needed the 4 pillars. That's awesome. You have opened my eyes to exactly I had in mind for a long time. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. For those of you that are watching on other platforms, be sure to leave in the comments what your biggest takeaway was. And please do me a favor. Subscribe to my YouTube page. YouTube has been like one of the most engaging platforms we've had. So all of you, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page, and be sure to follow me on other platforms, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those platforms, including YouTube. You can find me at Ramonepreston. So I want you to plug in. I want you to not just build a solid, strong, successful business, but I want you to grow it. I want you to become financially free, and you can use your business to do it. And there's no better time in history than to do it now, because a lot of businesses and a lot of people are contracting, they're falling back, they're taking a break, they're pausing, waiting for things to blow over. And this is where most millionaires are made. Most millionaires are made in economic contractions. Most millionaires are made in recessions. Most millionaires are made in depressions. Most millionaires are made in bear markets when people don't want to move around and do anything aggressive or take risks. And if you want to be one of those millionaires made, guess what? You got to build a solid foundation and a framework so that you can grow where you want to grow and literally go where you want to go. So just text millionaire to 404-478-7213. Again, 404-478-7213. Hey, I love all of you. Appreciate all of you. And I'll be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday, W-I-N-S Day, Wednesday. Be back here 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time on the Ramonepreston Show.